Hello, fellow Days of Our Lives fans. Oh, see how I love diving deep into the twisted vines of the DiMera family tree, those endless layers of betrayal, revenge, and barely concealed hatred that have kept us glued to our screens for decades. If you've been riding this roller coaster as long as I have, you know that in Salem, no plan ever unfolds quite the way the schemer intends. Secrets have a way of exploding at the worst possible moment, and grudges? They fester until they poison everyone in their path. Today, we're talking about the powder keg that's been building between Kristen DiMera, her unlikely new ally Sophia Choi, and the ever-calculating EJ DiMera. Specifically, whether Kristen's dark plot to strike at EJ by targeting his son Johnny is doomed to fail spectacularly, possibly before she can even make her move because EJ might just eliminate her first. Let me set the stage for those who might need a refresher, though I suspect most of you have been tracking every heated glance and veiled threat right alongside me. Kristen has been simmering with rage for months now, ever since her daughter Rachel Black ended up in that psychiatric facility at Bayview. In Kristen's eyes, EJ is the one who bears the blame, whether through his ruthless business maneuvers, his manipulations within the family, or the way he's always put DiMera power above everything else, including his own flesh and blood. Rachel's struggles, her time locked away, the emotional toll it's taken on the girl. Kristen sees it all as EJ's doing. And when a DiMera mother feels her child has been wronged, well, history tells us the retaliation won't be subtle. Think back to all the times Kristen has gone to extremes for love or vengeance, faking deaths, switching babies, pulling triggers. This time feels different though, deeper, more personal. Enter Sophia Choi, that sharp, ambitious young woman who's been stirring up her own brand of trouble in Salem. Sophia has her own axe to grind, particularly when it comes to the younger crowd, Holly, Tate, and the messy romantic entanglements that have left her feeling sidelined or slighted. In recent episodes, we've watched Kristen and Sophia circle each other warily at first, then slowly form this unholy alliance born of mutual resentment toward the DiMera orbit. Kristen sees Sophia as a useful tool, young, hungry, willing to get her hands dirty if it means settling scores. Sophia, for her part, gets pulled in deeper with every whispered conversation. But here's where it escalates into pure Days territory, the kind of jaw-dropping twist that makes you yell at your TV. In a recent bombshell scene, Kristen finally laid her cards on the table with Sophia. No more half measures or subtle sabotage. Kristen wants Johnny dead. Yes, you read that right. Not just humiliated, not just cut out of the family fortune, but eliminated entirely. Her logic is ice cold and heartbreakingly maternal in that warped DiMera way. You took my daughter from me, EJ. Now I'll take your son. By destroying Johnny, EJ's heir, to the one carrying the DiMera legacy forward in so many ways, Kristen believes she'll deliver a blow from which EJ can never recover. Sophia, to her credit, or perhaps her horror, hesitated. Killing someone? That's a line even she wasn't sure she wanted to cross, but Kristen, with that signature intensity Stacey Heiduck brings to every glare and calculated smile, pushed harder. She painted a picture of justice, of balance restored, and Sophia, well, she's still in, for now, though the doubt flickers in her eyes. But here's the part that has me, and I suspect many longtime viewers convinced this entire scheme is teetering on the edge of collapse. EJ isn't blind. He's never been one to sit idly by while threats brew in his own mansion. Remember that tense phone call in a recent episode? EJ was on the line with his loyal assistant Rita, his voice laced with that familiar mix of fury and cold command. If she gets too close, he barked, referring to Kristen moving in under the same roof, we'll have no choice but to take other measures. Other measures. In EJ speak, that could mean anything from legal traps to something far more permanent. We've seen EJ handle problems before. Disappearances, setups, eliminations that leave no trace. The DiMera tunnels beneath the mansion have hidden more bodies and secrets than most graveyards in Salem. If Kristen thinks she can waltz in, plot in the shadows, and strike without EJ catching wind, well, she's underestimating the man who has clawed his way back from the brink time and again. Let's expand on why I believe Kristen's plan is destined to backfire in the most explosive way possible. First, consider the family dynamics at play. Johnny isn't just any son. He's EJ's boy with Sammy Brady, a complicated legacy wrapped in love, resentment, and years of tug-of-war parenting. Johnny has grown into a young man trying to forge his own path, often caught between his parents' chaos. He's got Chanel by his side now, building a life, facing their own ups and downs. If Kristen succeeds in targeting him, it wouldn't just wound EJ. It would ripple through the entire DiMera clan, Chad, the rest of the siblings, even Marlena and the Bradys on the other side. But EJ has always protected his own when it suits him, and right now, with Kristen breathing down his neck, Johnny represents both vulnerability and a reason to strike first. We've watched EJ and Kristen clash physically before, those raw, emotional brawls where old wounds reopen and new ones form. Their sibling rivalry, twisted as it is, has escalated to new heights lately, fueled by Rachel's situation. Kristen has been digging through the tunnels, confronting EJ directly about his role in everything that's gone wrong for her daughter. She makes threats, he counters with that smug confidence. But EJ is always one step ahead, isn't he? He has resources, allies like Rita, who know where the bodies are buried, literally, and figuratively, and a willingness to cross lines that would make even Kristen pause. Imagine the scenario playing out dramatically, the way Days loves to draw it out over weeks of cliffhangers. Kristen and Sophia huddle in some dimly lit corner of the DiMera estate, or a neutral spot in town, finalizing the details. Sophia might suggest an accident, maybe tampering with Johnny's car, or luring him into a trap under the guise of family reconciliation. Kristen pushes for something more intimate, more painful. A confrontation where Johnny realizes too late who's behind it. The tension builds as they argue over the method, Sophia voicing second thoughts about involving an innocent like Chanel, who's pregnant and already navigating her own storms with Johnny. One wrong move, and the plan could claim the wrong victim, turning their revenge into an even bigger tragedy. Meanwhile, EJ is already mobilizing. That phone call to Rita wasn't idle chatter, it was a warning shot. He's monitoring Kristen's every move, perhaps planting bugs or having her followed. We've seen him handle threats in the past with chilling efficiency. What if he decides Kristen has become too dangerous, too unhinged? A sudden disappearance, a convenient accident, or even framing her for something that lands her back behind bars or worse. EJ has done it to others. Why not his own sister if she threatens the Empire and his son's life? The irony would be deliciously cruel. Kristen plotting to kill EJ's son, only to meet her end at EJ's hands before she can act. What do I think of the outcome where Johnny survives but Kristen doesn't? It feels almost inevitable in that classic soap opera way. Salem thrives on poetic justice and shocking reversals. Johnny has plot armor for now. He's central to so many storylines. His relationship with Chanel providing heart amid the darkness. Kristen, for all her complexity and the fierce love she shows Rachel, has burned too many bridges. Her obsession could blind her to the risks. Picture the climax. A stormy night at the mansion, shadows lengthening in the tunnels. Kristen creeps closer to her target, heart pounding with anticipation and maternal fury. But EJ is waiting. A confrontation erupts, words flying like daggers, accusations about Rachel, about past shootings, about loyalty and betrayal. Maybe Sophia panics and flips, or maybe EJ's security intervenes at the last second. Kristen could end up cornered, her grand plan crumbling as EJ delivers the final, devastating blow. Of course, nothing is ever final in Days of Our Lives. Characters have returned from the dead more times than I can count. If Kristen disappears, it could be temporary, a setup for a dramatic rescue or a villainous comeback down the line. But in the immediate future, the smart money is on her scheme failing, and failing hard. EJ's paranoia and ruthlessness give him the edge. He's not the man who lets emotions cloud his judgment when survival is on the line. Fans, what do you think? Have you been watching these episodes with the same knot in your stomach? Is Kristen finally going too far? Or will her maternal instincts somehow save the day in some twisted twist? Will Sophia back out when things get too real, especially with Chanel's pregnancy adding stakes no one saw coming? Drop your theories in the comments. I live for these discussions. After all these years of following every DiMera disaster, this storyline has all the hallmarks of peak Days: family against family, revenge that spirals out of control, and the constant question of who will strike first. As someone who's cheered, gasped, and groaned through countless DiMera power struggles, I can't wait to see how it unravels. One thing's for sure, someone isn't walking away unscathed. And in Salem, that someone is rarely who you expect.